Welcome to Damn Good Movie Memories with your host, Brian Davis. This podcast is the cure for your long commute and super boring workday. All right, for this week's episode on Damn Good Movie Memories, we are honored to have Ian Wadley, a.k.a. Wadzilla, joining us. You've heard Ian weekly for the past 3 years on the amazing Rock and Metal Combat podcast. Ian also has a terrific online radio program every Saturday called Wadzilla's World, featuring not just rock and metal, but a wide range of genres, and is awesome and eclectic to listen to. You can listen to Wadzilla's World every Saturday from 11 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern on Soundphoria Radio. Then, of course, download the latest Rock and Metal Combat podcast every episode. Every episode is on Sunday, I believe. And here's Ian. I'm grateful to have him on because he doesn't just love music. He also loves movies. So this is a match made in heaven.
Oh, I'm happy to be honored. Honored is a strong word. I almost feel like there's a court order. Like you had to have me on your show.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, exactly. But no, seriously, I love your show. I love the appearances that you have done on the Rock and Metal Combat podcast. You were an amazing guest. You picked great albums to talk about, and I've been thoroughly enjoying damn good movie memories. Listening to past episodes, having a good time. It's a passion of mine, just as much as music. Movies are a passion of mine, and I'm so happy that somebody is doing, a show that covers all this stuff. Because there's a lot of us out there. We just all need to come together and listen to your show.
Well, I appreciate that because, at first I was thinking, well, it'd be fun to do a music podcast, but there's so many good ones out there, and I can't compete with the Rock and Metal Combat podcast. Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to. So I figured I'd go movies, and then I can have you guys come on my podcast, and we don't have to talk about music. We can talk about, the other passion, which is movies. Yes. All right. So what we're going to do is, I've done this with past guests, is I just kind of go through the plethora of topics we've done over the past year. We now have 58 episodes. And so I'm just going to go through the list and ask Ian the variety of topics we covered, and we're going to get his unadulterated comments on everything that we have, and he's probably studied a little bit, but not much. Like, he likes to do things off the cuff, so
right. I'm
looking forward to what he has to say.
All right, and do I get my own episode, or is this one that's going to be?
No, you get your own episode because we're covering things that have already been kind of talked about, and since you haven't been on the show before, I mean, we've done many damn good movie memory episodes on the Rock and Metal Combat podcast, but this one is strictly for you. Oh, because you deserve it.
Nice. I can tell my mother; she'll be so proud.
All right, so let's get it started. And the first question we're going to ask, which was also the first episode, what was the first movie you actually remember seeing in a movie theater?
Okay, the first movie I remember seeing differs from the first movie that I actually saw. Both my mother and father conceded that the first thing I saw in the theater was a Warner Brothers cartoon, kind of like a. What do you call what's Wile E. Coyote, something like that. But I don't remember seeing
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, Looney Tunes movie. But the first movie I remember seeing is a drive-in movie, and it was
nice.
It was a double header. Yes, I grew up with the drive-in. I'm 43 and a half years old, so I'm kind of old, but I was lucky enough to grow up with the drive-in, which was an amazing experience all in of itself. Yeah. But the first one I remember seeing was a double header of Meatballs and Piranha.
Awesome. Well, Meatballs was also best known for being Bill Murray's first movie after Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, and that was something my parents loved. My parents were both big Saturday Night Live fans. But this is something I just remember my dad took me to, and just seeing that Meatballs seemed kind of crazy. And, my dad was a huge horror movie fan, so seeing Piranha after that, and this is before I'm in fucking kindergarten. I remember seeing this shit, I was like 4 years old. I believe it was 1979, like but before I turned 5, or I might have just turned 5.
Mhm.
But seeing that made a big impression on me. And man, I miss drive-ins. And anybody, if you live near a drive-in, please go, because it's an experience unto itself. And unfortunately,
It's true.
yeah, 99% of my experiences were with my grandfather. Oh boy, that sounds bad. But where I lived, the drive-in closed right before I turned 16. So I never got to take a date there. You know, my dad told me all these stories about how he got laid at the drive-in. He did this and that. Oh, I was on acid at the drive-in. It was the 60s. You know, it was, you know, I missed out on all that. Most of the time, I just sat there with my grandfather and ate a Tombstone pizza that you could get at the,
Oh yeah.
at the concession stand.
Right.
You used to go, because that was the big thing about the drive-in. You could get shit you couldn't get, regular theater. You're just getting popcorn and Junior Mints and Jujubes.
Yeah.
But at the drive-in, they would make you a Tombstone pizza that you could take back to your car.
Oh yeah, and then you'd sneak your friends in the trunk, and you pay for only 2 people.
Well,
yeah.
see, I missed all that. My dad did all that. Like I said, I remember going a couple times with my dad. The rest of the time was with my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to love... I grew up in Illinois, about an hour south of Chicago. And
Right.
I lived for the summertime, because in the summertimes I saw 3 movies a weekend. In the wintertime, I only saw 2 movies a weekend. And I know, like, people are like, oh, you're bitching about that. But my grandfather was also a movie buff. But in the summertime, when we go to the drive-in, that was always a double feature.
Right.
But whatever night we didn't go to the drive-in, we would go to one of the 3 other, I grew up, there was the Paramount Theater, which was a single theater at that time, the Town Cinema, which the Town Cinema would always show, like, the worst movies. and not necessarily the worst movie, but you know what I mean? Like if it was a canon movie, it was
right.
It was getting shown at
it was
the
a
time.
Charles Bronson. Yeah.
If Charles Bronson was in it, it was at the Cannon, and your feet would stick to the fucking floor. And then there was the MetaView, which was our like local mall at that time, which wasn't even like a real mall; it was like a strip mall. But it had a theater that had 3 different movie theaters in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I would always see. I mean. Seriously, from the age of like 4 till high school, I would see a minimum of 2 to 3 movies a weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I miss, going to the movies now is not as much of a fun experience, whether it be the quality of movies or the lack of drive-ins. There is still a drive-in here in San Jose, and they play double features, and it's inexpensive to go. Just the whole experience is different now because of streaming and home entertainment,
Right. Well, I think it's a mixture of things for me. One is like you almost have to take out a small bank loan to go to the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I remember going to see matinees for like $1.50.
Exactly.
And I used to ride my bike, in the summertime. Oh my God, I would, summertime, you're out of school. I would ride my bike to the theater all the time and see shit. I remember riding my bike, being 10 years old. I particularly remember the summer of '84, like seeing stuff like Gremlins and Ghostbusters and Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. I mean, that was a summer I will never forget, being 10 years old, riding my Huffy with red tires. So, when I slid out, it left a red tread mark,
Oh,
that kind of shit. But nowadays, when you go to the theaters, it's so expensive. And,
especially if you go to see a 3D movie, then you
it's even worse. And the concessions are through the fucking roof. There's a local theater that I go to around, in New Orleans. It is actually the oldest theater in New Orleans. It's called the Prytania, and I'm very proud to, this to be my theater. It's a single theater building, and they are amazing because they do not only whatever the current movie is, they do midnight movies. On Wednesdays and Sunday mornings, they do classics, and it's everything from like fucking Singing in the Rain to Alfred Hitchcock to James Bond movies.
Yeah.
So there's all that, and it's such a great theater. Like I saw Star Wars Force Awakens. They showed it in 3D there. It's not
Uh-huh.
typically one of those type of theaters, but they showed it in that. Uh, by the way, it was the first 3D movie I saw in the theater since Jaws 3D.
Oh,
Uh,
1983.
yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, the summer of 3D. I saw what was that? There was Jaws 3D. I saw Friday the 13th 3D
That's right.
at the drive-in, and there was oh fuck, what was the movie? It was so bad. It was a science fiction movie. Came out in the summer of 3D.
But I just remember Jaws 3D where they were purposely showing, like shots just to get the 3D vibe. Didn't help the story at all. Roy Scheider wasn't even in the movie. You had Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. And I still enjoy watching it now, even though it's a shit film. But yeah, well, so what an atrocity.
Oh my god! And I gotta say that was the worst 3D that I ever saw
Yeah,
in the theater. That's one of those where like I'm taking the glasses off. I was like,
yeah.
oh, oh, okay, now I see it. Space Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
Oh my.
Yeah, Molly Ringwald and I think Peter Weller, or Peter somebody. Yeah, well, not no,
Not a high point of the year.
yeah, not Peter Weller. That was RoboCop. It's Peter somebody
Right.
else. But anyway, you kids get the point.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, when I'm getting back to the Pertania
Yeah.
though, it's one of those. It's a nice small theater, and when I go, I always sit in the balcony, and it's New Orleans. I mean, this is
Yeah.
a party town. So if you go in the balcony, there's drugs, there's alcohol. I had some friends come and visit me from Indiana, and I took them there to see It. We were so drunk, we walked from my house. We walked 2 miles from my house to the theater, drunk to see It. And somebody just turned around the balcony and handed my buddy's wife a glass of wine. Holy fuck! This never happens in Indiana. I'm like, welcome to New Orleans.
Exactly.
Like here you go. And I
Well, there's a great theater in Portland where they actually serve alcohol there, or you can go to the Alamo Draft House. There's Alamo Draft House.
Yeah, that's a chain, right?
Yeah, and they'll serve really good food and definitely alcohol, and that's always fun. Yeah, we saw Life Aquatic Steve Azuzu when we were in Portland
I
drinking.
love that movie.
Oh yeah, my buddy after a lot of beer was just every 5 minutes he's just woo woo, and people just didn't care. You just do whatever you want.
God, no,
So-
I miss that. When I lived in Florida, there was a place that was a Bruin View, man, and you could get same thing. You get like a pizza or hot dogs or hamburgers delivered to your table, and all the, instead of like regular movie chairs, it was like almost like a school desk table. Well, not a school desk, but you know what I mean, like a regular table.
Yeah.
Like a fold-out table, and there was chairs,
Mhm.
and they would bring you pitchers of beer, and you could smoke, and it was fucking awesome. I'd see shit like Return of the Living Dead, and shit like that. It was fucking amazing, and there's something to be said about seeing shit on the big screen.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm kind of a curmudgeon about that because I don't go that much anymore. Just because I'm old and I'm lazy and I complain about prices, But
Well, and the quality of film isn't that good anymore either.
oh
so
yeah,
that
yeah,
helps.
you're right. Most of the new movies suck.
Yeah.
This isn't the shit that's coming out now makes the 80s look like the 70s.
Oh yeah, you're right.
As far as quality of pictures, and I mean quality acting, quality storytelling. I mean, all you get now is a bunch of Michael Bay shit that, like, oh god, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
So,
Remakes and superhero movies are where we're at now. So
yeah, horrible. But that was a long ass fucking answer to your first question.
that's okay. And that's what I'm looking for.
But yeah, Piranha and Meatballs is the first thing I remember seeing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we're kind of speaking of Piranha. We'll go into the next question, which is, what is your favorite horror / scary movie?
Oh, now see, this is like I am a horror movie aficionado.
Right.
I mean, that is, oh my god, I grew up on this shit. And one of my favorite genres, unfortunately, in my opinion, has been very dormant, aside from a few, movies here and there since the 80s. I mean, really, the 90s and the millennial has been horrible for horror movies. I mean, basically, what you get now is these bullshit Blair Project fucking found footage shit, or
Right.
some kind of like bastard ass fucking poltergeist scary house shit. I mean, I don't know. This shit's fucking horrible. But I still love horror movies. I would have to say my favorite, and this is, this could change on any given day. But if you're going overall, like full effect of what a movie does to you, I have to stick with the original John Carpenter's Halloween.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And that might be considered a stock to answer. And it's not even my favorite John Carpenter movie. My favorite John Carpenter movie is The Thing.
Oh yeah, the remake from with
Yes.
Jeff Bridges. Yeah.
Yes, that's my favorite John
Kurt
Carpenter
Russell.
movie
Yeah.
of all time. But I mean, if you're going like just regular horror movie, there's just something so primal about Halloween, and a pure example of how it doesn't have to be bloody, it doesn't have to be this, but what it has to have is an element of fear,
Yeah.
and just a primal scare, and that shows me right there. I mean, you can do whatever with special effect. Like I love Hostel. I love
Okay.
Hostel.
Yeah.
I think it's a great movie. But that movie shows you so much. Like holy shit, But Halloween to me has the same kind of scares, but without all that. So
Right.
that shows me another level of sophistication. That just through what you create, you can evoke the same type of fear and scares. So that's why I'd probably go with Halloween.
Well, that and it's a good. I mean, it's a simple story, but it's complicated in a way too. And I think that's the key. You don't. I think going back to why newer movies don't do as well now. Everything is so convoluted with the CGI, and they kind of forget about the story. We just think, well, kids are only going to like the flash and the bombs and all the bullshit instead of the actual story. And I think that's where they're losing out on. And Halloween delivers on that.
Yeah, with horror, you got to do one of two things. Either you create characters that you care if they die,
Right.
or you have characters with tits so great you just don't fucking care. Because there's plenty of horror movies where just that chick whips out her tits and gets killed, and you're like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna miss them titties. Oh Lord,
Oh, the 80s, yes,
Yeah,
and the late 70s.
Oh yes. I love tits. I love tits so much I grew my own. True story.
Well, speaking of that, let's get into the worst movie you saw on a date and the worst date you had at a movie.
I don't know. Most of the movies I went on a date, I've enjoyed. I don't have a lot of bad experiences. I mean, there are some movies I've walked out on. And funny enough, it was with my grandfather, who probably, like I said, 80% of the movies I've seen in my life at theaters were with my grandfather.
Okay.
We walked out of Krull. I thought that was, yeah. Very boring. We walked out of The Never Ending Story.
Yeah, I always felt it's one of the more overrated. Like people, I think, have fond memories of it, but then you actually watch it, and it's boring as shit.
I don't get it. Hey, I was of the age. I saw that shit in the theaters, and I was like, "Fuck this shit,"
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
I do like the theme song.
I'm gonna go home and watch fucking Porky's on fucking HBO.
That's right.
But I did walk out of The Mummy 2 or whatever it was called. It was the second Brandon Fraser movie.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever that was, I saw it at a Bruin View in Florida, and even drunk and whatever illegal drugs I was on was not enough to keep me in that theater. I was like, "Oh, I'm out of here."
The Mummy Returns from 2001.
Yeah, that shit was terrible. Something about a fucking. I remember fucking riding around in a fucking air balloon. I'm like, I'm fucking out of here. This is fucking terrible.
Seats don't fail me now.
Yeah, horrible.
All right. Let's get into what is your favorite movie villain that isn't a superhero?
That isn't a superhero. Okay, well, I'd have to say Darth Vader.
Okay, yeah, that's a good.
I mean, technically, because it doesn't come from a comic book, he's not a superhero.
No,
But I mean, Darth Vader is just I mean, symbolistic of my childhood. I mean, I grew up in the Star Wars era. You know,
Right.
it's like either you did or you didn't. I know that I love that kids these days get Star Wars and it means something to them, but fuck you. I grew up with fucking Star Wars, you
It's
know.
true.
You know, I saw Star Wars at the drive-in, not on its first release, on the
Mhm.
re-release. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But I saw fucking, you know, Empire Strikes Back. Actually, my first trip to New Orleans before I lived here, I came here to see relatives, and I saw Empire Strikes Back in New Orleans. I waited in line for hours to see fucking Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
you know, only to be like, fucking
Yeah.
Muppets, you know.
So
But
I'm a little bit younger than you. So my first Star Wars experience was Return of the Jedi, and yeah, I mean it was a mind blowing experience. Like,
oh yeah, but I mean, still, like like fucking Return of the Jedi. You know, it's like the best Police Academy movie. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like it's not perfect, you know, because look at the first two, but it's still
right.
goddamn good,
That's
you
right.
know. But no, Darth Vader. I mean, he was the epitome of a villain. Like you knew he was bad, but you could not wait. You're like chewing your nails, waiting for him to come back on the screen. You know,
Yeah.
because he just chewed that shit up. You know, I mean, it's like fucking when Darth Vader shows up. It's like what was that latest one? That Rogue One.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one I was like very like I was scared about. I was like, oh god, Disney is gonna fuck this shit up. This is gonna be horrible.
Right.
And actually, I gotta say that was the first one that I did not see in theaters. I was so
Oh.
scared. I was like, I didn't even go to the theater. But I'm a pirate, so I got me a copy.
Did you watch? Did you go to the theater to see the prequels?
Yes,
Okay.
of course I
Yeah.
did, because I'm an idiot. Um,
We
but,
all are.
but so I'm watching Rogue One, and then at the end, spoiler alert for you assholes who haven't seen Rogue One, when fucking Vader comes out at the end and just fucks everybody's shit up. Oh my god, dude! I mean, seriously, full blown chubby. I'm fucking whacking it. Like I hope you're not sitting in front of me. You know, but then again, I'm watching in my bedroom. But
That's right.
I was like, oh my god, you know, like Darth Vader fucking everybody up. It doesn't get any better than that. I mean, it's like, you know, hit motherfuckers with his saber, and he's just putting out the hand, and they fly everywhere because that motherfucker's got the force. You know, it's just like, oh, holy shit. I mean, I am a James Bond aficionado. I love me some
Uh-huh.
James Bond villains, but man, when it comes to villains, dude, it's Darth Vader. Darth Vader.
Well, plus he is voiced by one of the greatest, at least voice actors of all time, and that's James Earl Jones.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was what's the other guy's name? Who does every other voice over if James Earl Jones not available?
Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was Morgan Freeman before Morgan Freeman.
That's a great point. That is very true. All right, next, what is your favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie?
Okay, now this is one, man, I gave a lot of thought to this because I gotta admit, I mean, well, first of all, most people have to admit, Alfred Hitchcock had a shit ton of movies.
Yes, he did.
A
In
shit
different
ton.
eras.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, and you know, most people just know like the Universal era kind of thing, you know. But he had a lot of movies, a lot of which I have not seen. I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie. I am a huge Hitchcock fan. I mean, of what I've seen, I mean, fuck, I even love Family Plot.
Yeah.
You know, I love Frenzy.
I think Frenzy is one of the most underrated ones.
Oh, Frenzy! I got that on Blu-ray. I just showed that
Yeah.
to my old lady a couple months ago, and she loved Hitchcock and never seen that. And she loved it.
Yeah, it's a great one.
But if you're gonna go Hitchcock, I gotta say, and I know this sounds like a stock answer, but Vertigo.
Yeah, and and me growing up in San Francisco, that means a lot. So
Oh well, it means a lot because my favorite city in the world, of the fucking world, is San Francisco. And I fell in love with San Francisco through movies. I mean, there's so many movies that I've seen, you know, not to mention I still remember the streets of San Francisco.
That's right. Michael Douglas.
And
Yeah,
Carl Malden.
that's right.
But you know, it's just to me the most photogenic city.
It is.
It's amazing, you know. And the great Bill Wang from the Kiss 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 Hard Rock page and
Yep.
multiple episodes of the Rock and Metal Combat podcast. I'm so lucky that I can go out there anytime and stay with him. And he always laughs because we walk around the streets and I'm just like, oh my God, look at the architecture. Look at this, you know. I got to smoke a joint on the Golden Gate Bridge. It was amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's a funny thing about California because I'm coming from New Orleans where you can walk around with a drink at any time and and nobody bats an eye. I'm walking around with booze in San Francisco, and people are looking at me like I got the fucking plague.
Well, don't light up a cigarette. You'll get thrown over the bridge.
Right. But I smoked a joint on the Golden Gate Bridge, and I was like, okay, as you were.
Yeah, that's right.
How you doing? Never mind. You know, I was like, what the fuck? You know, but it was odd. But no, seriously, what the most beautiful town I've ever been to, and if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would move to San Francisco.
Yeah,
I mean, there's just something about, and I don't know what it is. But I've been drawn to that city since I was a small child, and I'm straight. Believe it or not, you know.
There's something for everyone here.
Yeah, I like the movies, but I love Chinese food, and I'm a big fan of bridges.
You know? Yeah. Well, actually, a teaser, we're going to do an episode just based on our favorite San Francisco movies, our favorite New York movies, and our favorite Chicago movies. So that's awesome. Coming up.
Oh, yeah. And coming from a kid who grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago,
yeah,
God, I would love both of those. And I love Chicago too. But to me, San Francisco, just amazing by the beauty and everything that your city has to offer. And I think you're very lucky to live there.
It is. Yeah, it's beyond expensive, but you kind of get what you pay for, I guess.
I get like my thing. Like if I won the lottery, I want to go to Pacific Heights.
Yeah,
that's like my dream. Like go to Pacific Heights, but that shit's never gonna happen. So I watch movies like Pacific Heights.
Exactly.
And I was like, isn't that great? But look at the scenery. I love it. You know. All right, but
all right, let's get into.
But Vertigo, you know,
Vertigo.
Before we move on, I just got to say about Vertigo. I mean, what a great story, so beautifully shot, and that was an era when color movies meant color movies.
Yeah, technically.
You know what I mean? Like everything popped out, like every scene, every little nuance just jumped off the screen. And it's a great story, you know, and fucking, you know, Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak. I mean, just great storytelling. I mean, you could say the same thing about Rear Window is an amazing movie. Psycho is an amazing movie.
The Birds.
You know, The Birds. Yeah, all those. You know, Torn to Curtain, Rope. I mean,
North by Northwest.
Yes, North by Northwest. I mean, amazing movies. He was a master of suspense. But there's just something about Vertigo that is, I don't. People who love movies, you just get it because everything is in it. I mean, from the acting to, you know, the cinematography, the direction, the writing, everything. And it was one of those. I remember. I think it was the summer of '84. They did some re-releases of Alfred Hitchcock, and I went with my grandfather to the theater, and I saw Rear Window and Vertigo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was, you know, and it was hard when I was younger. I didn't like older movies that much. Like if I knew something was older than me, I didn't want to watch it. I'm like, there's something wrong, you know. If it was black and white, forget about it. I didn't want to see it, you know. But I remember going to the Meadowview Theater and seeing both of those movies, and just like, wow, this is great storytelling.
You're just drawn in, and especially Rear Window. I mean, you would think it would be boring because it takes place literally in one room, one set, but you're captivated the whole movie.
Right. Well, another one. My girlfriend turned me on to a movie, Rope.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing.
Which is another great one with Jimmy Stewart, and it's one of those, you know, based on a play, and you get that feeling. You know, another movie I loved growing up based on a play was Death Trap. Mm-hmm. You ever seen that with?
I've heard about it.
Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those. It's based on a play. It's very, as far as a film goes, it's what you would call claustrophobic because it all takes place in one era. But when the writing and the acting and all that is so good, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a prime example. But
Yeah,
that's my long answer to Alfred Hitchcock.
but it's true with Vertigo. I mean, it's a type of movie that requires repeat viewing because you're gonna miss stuff, and then it's gonna open your eyes when you watch it again and again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've got it on Blu-ray. I recommend it to anybody. I mean, seriously, that's one of those movies. Check it out, regardless of what you're into. I mean, if you just appreciate good cinema,
yeah,
I mean, it's a classic.
It is. All right, what is your favorite movie soundtrack?
All right, now this is a hard one. This is a hard one because I could think of like a lot of movies that I love. I used to buy a lot of soundtracks when I was growing up. I bought a lot of movie soundtracks, and most of them sucked. For the most part, there'd be like one or two songs you like, but most of them sucked. But here's one, and I know it's a weird answer, but I used to play this on cassette over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And that was the soundtrack to American Graffiti.
Yeah, I totally agree. I had the same thing. And it was super long because it had pretty much every song, classic old-time rock and roll.
And they also there was two cassettes. There was two versions. There was American Graffiti
and more.
More American Graffiti. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, it's like, I just love rock and roll. And that is rock and roll at its birth and everything. But
and it's great having like the interludes with Wolfman Jack, who had the ultimate radio voice.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those things that stuck out to me because, at the time when I bought the soundtrack to American Graffiti, we're talking '84, so that's the era of Born in the USA, Purple Rain, all this
Madonna,
shit. And I'm listening to all that shit too. But my dad had me watch fucking American Graffiti. And I was just blown away. I love the movie and I love the music. So I went and got the soundtrack. And to me, it was no weirder listening to that than it was what was contemporary on the radio stations.
That's right.
And, I mean, that's music that stands the test of time. A movie that stands the test of time.
Definitely.
But, I also remember my dad had it on vinyl. I remember being a little kid looking through there and you see the car hop on the cover, know, and the colors are brighter than bright. And, it's just, it's one of those things like, we couldn't be where we are today without what came before. And that is the forefront of rock and roll. And it's a great, great fucking movie.
With a lot of people who became stars later, like a lot of like Harrison Ford and Richard Dreyfuss.
And what's the chick from fucking Three's Company?
Yes, Chrissy.
Yeah.
Suzanne Summers.
Yeah, Suzanne Summers. No, you're right. Mackenzie Phillips was in it. She was She was the little girl in it. But yeah, Suzanne Summers.
She was in the car too. Yeah.
Yeah. Suzanne Summers is the one I was thinking of. But
yes.
I mean, oh my God, Richard Dreyfuss and Ron Howard and Charles Martin Smith, who
he's great.
Who not only is amazing in that movie as Frog, but directed one of my favorite horror movies of all time, Trick or Treat.
That's right.
Even though he likes to ignore that movie. But, oh my God, him as Frog is like the greatest, the nerd teen, the out-of-step kid. He played it perfectly.
Yes.
And it's a great movie and it's a great soundtrack. And I think it's something that people of all ages can appreciate. If you just like good music, you're going to love that soundtrack because it's stuff that's stood the test of time. So
absolutely. And going back to the Northern California connection, it was based in Modesto because that's where George Lucas grew up. So
nice.
Yeah. And Cindy Williams was also in there.
Yes,
so
Cindy Williams. Yeah, Laverne Shirley.
Great cast. All right, we kind of talked about this one on the Rock and Metal Combat podcast on the Armored Saint episode, but what is your favorite gangster or mafia movie? Besides The Godfather, of course.
Yeah, I know. And see, that's the thing is Godfather 1 and 2 are the standard that all gangster movies are set by, and rightfully so. I mean, you can't get mad at somebody when they say that's their favorite gangster movie.
No, of course not.
Because goddamn, I mean, that's like it's like modern era Shakespeare. It's that perfect.
It's the gold standard.
But I mean, there's also, again, I'm going to give stock answers, but it's going to be, stuff like Scarface, Casino, Goodfellas. I'm a very big proponent of Casino, which I don't think gets the same respect as Goodfellas, and some other movies, but I think it deserves it. But there's just something.
Oh, I agree.
There's something, of course, everybody loves, Marty Scorsese. I mean, the guy can do no wrong unless you watch Kadun, or The Silence or whatever the fuck it is. I got big hopes for The Irishman. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's kind of a rough question. And even if you kind of want to go gangster movies, not necessarily mafia, but Reservoir Dogs.
Sure.
Is in my mind a perfect movie, a gangster movie. I mean, they're all hoods, they're all bad guys, but fuck, what do I know? I even like Mobsters with fucking Christian Slater. Because
Gleam the Cube or whatever.
Gleam the Cube. Oh God, you're pushing it now. Fucking, I love New Jack City. I love shit like that. I love a lot of I love blaxploitation.
Yo, of course,
one of my favorite genres.
Yes.
But yeah, it's one of those things. It's a hard question to ask because how do you beat, Father 1 and 2?
Yeah.
I mean that's the epitome of movie making, of movie acting. To me, the 70s were the last bastion of real Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, there was stuff that that's come out from the 80s on that I love, of course. Be it my age or just that I don't ask that much, but to me, the 70s was the end of old Hollywood, and it went out with a bang. It went out with a fucking bang. The greatest. That's one thing. Ralph and I argue on a lot musically on the Rock and Metal Combat podcast page.
Yes,
but one thing we agree on is the 70s was. I mean, that was movie making at its finest.
And that's what eventually I'm going to have both you and Ralph on to do just like a certain era of time that Ralph really enjoys. And I believe it's from like 1975 to 1978 or something like that. And
that would be amazing.
We'll just pick a bunch of movies from that era and then we'll just go through them. That'd be so much fun. Because if you go through the Academy Awards for the best pictures in 1970, you have Patton, The French Connection, The Godfather 1 and 2, The Sting, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Rocky, Annie Hall, The Deer Hunter, and then Kramer vs. Kramer. I mean, it's a wealth of riches, that era.
Oh yeah, I mean, and think about it. Like nowadays, you can look at stuff that got nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah,
and you're like, really? And it really pissed me off. What is it, like 3 or 4 years now that now there's like 57 pictures nominated for Best Picture?
Yeah, it's true.
I hate that. No, bitch, there's 5. There's 5. Who did this shit? Either you get in the 5 or you don't. But if you look at any of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture throughout the 70s, I mean, it's some of the best cinema ever. Like I always, Ralph and I always argue because he's like, oh, he loves Rocky. Hey, I love Rocky too. But I'm sorry, fuck you, Network should have gotten Best Picture.
Taxi Driver.
Yeah, that's just me. But I mean, you look at all those; they're all so solid. And I just hate this whole new era. And I'm a fucking liberal, by the way. But I hate this whole everybody gets a trophy.
Right.
Everybody participate. No, fuck you. You're either in the top 5 or you're not.
That's right.
And to me, the Oscars mean something. I never miss the Oscars. I don't watch the Tonys, people. I watch the Oscars, because it means something to me. I mean, because movies mean so much to me, and that's why I love this. But the funny thing is, not only good movies mean something to me, bad movies mean a lot to me, too. But bad in a good way. I don't mean bad like, Michael Bay bad.
Right. You're talking about so bad it's good, type of thing.
Like bad movies to me is like anything Michael Bay touches.
Right.
But good bad movies is anything Lloyd Kaufman touches.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
and I think that shit's just important as anything Sidney Lumet did. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah,
There's a place for everything.
absolutely.
I love it, and it is. It's a passion. I mean, these things enhance our life the same way good novels enhance your life, the same way
That's right.
good music enhances your life.
Hmm.
I mean, movies take you someplace that it's just I can't explain enough. Like I could sit here the rest of my days, and just as long as I watch one good movie or one so bad movie, it's good.
Yeah.
The rest of my life I'd be happy.
Well, speaking of good and bad and all those sorts of things, let's get into what are some of your favorite guilty pleasure movies? The ones that you might feel a little bit embarrassed about telling people about, but fuck it, you like it anyway.
Oh God, I'll tell you what, that could be a whole like 10-hour episode
Oh yeah.
of itself. But one I gotta admit, and it happens to be my girlfriend's favorite movie, Grease 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned they like that more than the original Grease.
I wouldn't say that, but there's something about Grease 2. But I'm from a very special era that a lot of people relate to, and that's kids who had HBO in the 80s.
Yeah.
In the early 80s. And it's one of those things that you just saw all the time. You knew Grease 2. You knew Fraggle Rock. The
Legend of Billie Jean, yeah.
Oh, Legend of Billie Jean. What, dude? I got that on fucking Blu-ray. You kidding me?
Me too.
My lady loved it. I bought her a Legend of Billie Jean T-shirt. We just went and saw Pat Benatar, and she played the goddamn theme song.
She hates the movie, but
oh, she does?
Yeah, she usually badmouths it, but she always plays the song, unfortunately. But that's a great song too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Invincible.
Oh, great.
Oh my God.
Great song.
Legend of Billie Jean. I saw it at the theater in 1985. I saw it at the drive-in.
Yeah.
It's one of those memories. It's sitting there eating a fucking Tombstone pizza, watching the Legend of Billie Jean, and going like, "Wow, this Christian Slater's never gonna make it." But boy, was I wrong.
Well, not to mention Yeardley Smith. She ended up becoming very popular with The Simpsons. So.
Oh, yeah, and she was also awesome in fucking Maximum Overdrive. Too.
That's right.
Which
Good
I
call.
saw at the drive-in as well.
Amazing soundtrack, AC/DC.
Oh, AC/DC. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was one of the things that really, I mean, shit, you want to talk about a movie to change your life. I mean, that turned me on to AC/DC.
Yeah.
Because that was the same year I was getting into hard rock.
Yeah, 86, I think, right?
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, wow. And I remember seeing that, and that's one of those movies that gets so much hate, and I don't get it because I think Maximum Overdrive fucking rules.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's funny. There's scares. There's a good story. There's great music. You got fucking Pat Hingle, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
A great character actor. And that's something, that we both know and love as character actors.
Yes.
Pat Hingle was a great character actor.
Oh, yeah.
Not my favorite. That's going to come up later.
That's right. We do have that question. Well, another thing. Yeah. And you had mentioned, HBO, but that's the greatest thing about the 80s was the invention of HBO, the VCR becoming somewhat affordable for people to have. I mean, that's where I think movie viewing got even better because you could just watch a movie over and over again and love a movie. Whereas before, if you didn't see it in the theater and it didn't appear, randomly on television, you were never going to see that movie again. Oh, yeah. And so, once a VCR came, you really got to love movies over and over again.
When I was real little, it was like the ABC Sunday night movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But then when HBO came along and my grandparents got HBO, that was like, it opened up a whole new world. But back then, I mean, realistically, you had like maybe 20 movies a month that were showed over and over. So, you watched a lot of shit more than once. And I remember before we even had VHS, I used to have a Laserdisc player.
Oh, yeah.
That we had, the one where you would stick it in and then you had to flip it over.
That's like a giant record.
Yeah. And I'll never forget this. I fucked it up once.
Oh no.
I had rented Jaws 2 and Truck Stop Women. Yeah, that's a real movie. Look it up. Look it up.
Cinemax type. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a Cinemax type of movie.
Yeah.
But I had tried to stick Truck Stop Women in before I pulled out Jaws 2.
Oh no.
And the thing got jammed, and we had to take it back to the fucking place we rented it from. But shit, I remember renting a VHS player on the weekends because it wasn't affordable to buy one.
That's right.
But we would rent one on the weekends. You were allowed to do that. And I would always rent the same 3 movies. It was Jaws, Grease, and Psycho.
That's awesome.
Those were like the 3 movies. Like, yeah, I'm renting, and then my dad would get whatever, But that's the thing we did before we could afford to buy one. And shit, I remember having a Betamax.
Yeah.
That had a remote control that we had to plug it in. It wasn't like a.
Yeah, the wire.
Yeah, it had a wire. And I remember one time the dog ran across the fucking room, fucked up the cord, so we had to fucking finagle it with a toothpick, to get the thing to work so we could work the fucking half-ass remote control. I mean,
yeah.
White kids today don't know the struggle.
Oh, getting up to change this channel if your remote was broken. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember having to change it to UHF to watch.
That's right.
To watch kung fu movies and scary movies on a Saturday. That shit's on UHF,
That's right. I've told this story on the podcast, but the only reason we got our VCR, I think this was back in 1984. So my dad got a hot streak in Reno, and I think he won like $800 or something like that, and he used that to basically buy our VCR, and it was the greatest thing ever when he won. We still talk about that. So, yeah. All right, so let's go into movies where you would change the ending, and then movies where your favorite endings.
All right, well, this was a hard one. I remember looking at this one. I'm like, what movies would I change the ending to?
Yeah, but you love it up to that ending point.
Right. Man, and that's a tough one. And I would have to say, this is going to be a horrible answer, but I would say any movie that ends with a happy ending. Usually, and I don't mean that like I'm a negative Nancy motherfucker, but I just love movies with downbeat endings.
Okay, it seems more real.
Yeah, not that I'm negative, but there's just something that's more real life, more like not everything gets wrapped up in a bow. Not everything ends like you want it to. A prime example is I mean, not only is it a fantastic movie, but the Bad News Bears. The Bad News Bears don't win. But they do because they're the Bad News Bears. But you know what I mean? It's like, hey, a lot of times the nerd, the underachiever doesn't get what he wants, but life goes on. Obla-dee, obla-da, motherfucker.
That's right. And they shouldn't have won because that wouldn't have been what they were all about. It was better that they got their second place trophy, and Tanner told them to go fuck themselves and threw the trophy.
Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, that to me is a prime example. Another great one is Rocky.
Of course.
The first, even though I prefer Rocky 2,
yeah,
I love Rocky 1 because Rocky doesn't win, but that's fucking real life, and to me, that's what makes, great storytelling, great movies is something that is relatable. Mm-hmm. Not everything is a Disney ending.
Right.
So it's kind of hard. I mean, there's so many, the list is endless of movies I would change.
Okay.
And not that I need everything to be, miserable, but not everything gets a neat bow, Mm-hmm. That's what I love about, oh my God, this last season of Twin Peaks.
Okay.
Absolutely loved. I mean, some of the best fucking filming ever, acting, everything was amazing. I have 6 bazillion questions, but that's okay. They don't need to be answered.
No, the ambiguous is good.
Yes, ambiguous is good. You don't know everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff you never get an answer to. To me, it makes it more real and more relatable. It's like, I don't know. Some shit is never fucking explained.
That's right. And you come up with it. You can come up with the answer in your own mind, and that's fine. You can go
Yeah.
any way, which way you want, and that's good.
Yeah, and, and other people come up with stuff like, okay, if that helps you sleep at night, great. And some people come up with stuff. I'm like, are you fucking nuts? and sometimes I'm more than willing to go to bed going, I don't know.
Well, that's why the
But
ending
that's okay,
Did you ever see the movie Sideways with Paul Giamatti?
No, I've never seen it. I know a lot about it, but I've never. And I love Paul Giamatti. I love the dude who directed it. I can't remember his name. No, I haven't seen it yet.
But you might like that movie because the ending, you don't know what happens, and it's one of my dad's favorite endings because he likes those ambiguous endings as well. So you might want to check out that one.
Okay, I mean, I know a lot of people who love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just never saw it, and there's a lot of great movies that people love that I've never seen, and and I've also seen a lot of shitty movies that nobody should ever see.
That's okay too. And then what are some of your favorite endings?
Okay, one of my favorite endings of all time, and me and my old lady agree on this. One of our favorite movies, but a lot of people find disturbing, is The Mist.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen that?
No, I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, it is so good. It is so good. Frank Darabont, who did Shawshank Redemption,
and that's one of my favorite endings.
Yeah. he did The Mist. He did The Green Mile. He did the first season of The Walking Dead. But, he's done a lot of Stephen King, but he came up with his own ending for The Mist. It wasn't Stephen King's idea, but even Stephen King said, like, holy shit, like, I couldn't have written this. Like, this is, like, the best ending ever.
Okay.
And I don't want to spoil it because you haven't seen it, because it's something I think that people should enjoy. Enjoy is a strong word, because it's a very downbeat ending, but to me it's just powerful. It's one of those things, like, I love when you've watched a movie and it stays with you after it's over.
Yeah.
You reflect on, like, you think about it, like, oh my God. And to me, the Mist not only is a great, like, sci-fi horror movie. I mean, like that whole part of it is great, thoroughly entertaining, a great popcorn movie with good scares and stuff like that. But there's an ending that is so, like, holy fucking shit, but it just adds to the power of the movie, and that's what stuck with me. And what I would also recommend is if you've never seen it, get the deluxe Blu-ray copy.
Okay.
Because they have it not only in color, but black and white.
Really?
Oh, and it is amazing. And this is one of those movies, has some amazing effects, but they translate into black and white. I mean, it looks great in color, don't get me wrong, but there's just something about the story, because it's kind of an old-fashioned ghost story.
Right.
And a creepy movie that when you watch it in black and white, it's like, oh my God, it's so good. And
so I'm looking it up now, and is there a new TV series about it?
Yeah, that shit was horrible.
Okay, so don't
horrible.
see that one.
Yeah, it got canceled after one season. No surprise. Okay. No, seriously, yeah, it was horrible.
Okay,
but no, check it out. You can order it on Amazon. Get the deluxe edition that has it in black and white as well. But it has an ending. Like I said, I wish you knew it so we could talk about it. But yeah. It's one of those things. It's so good, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay.
But it's like, wow. But it makes the movie 1,000 times more powerful. But I know a lot of people that love Michael Bay movies. Like, that's their favorite type of shit. And they saw this and like, oh my God, how could I watch such a thing? Like, eat a dick. You fucking pansies. Oh, God.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to sequels. And this is a 3-part question. So what is your favorite sequel? Which movie do you think you wish had a sequel? And then which movies do you wish had never had a sequel?
Okay. Favorite sequel of all time? Duh. I know this is an unentertaining answer, but Godfather 2.
Sure.
Greatest sequel of all time.
Okay.
Second part is should have had a sequel.
Yeah.
And this is one I touched upon when you were on the Rock and Metal Combat podcast.
Mhm.
I love Trick or Treat.
Yeah. Yeah.
By no means a great movie, but it's just a movie that means a lot to me, because of when it came out. I was 12 years old. Me and my dad went and saw it on a Sunday afternoon. I'll never forget. We went to the Meadowview Theater, saw it on a Sunday afternoon. He took me to the local record store right after we got out to buy the soundtrack, which was all done by Fastway.
Yep.
And Charles Martin Smith, who played Toad in American Graffiti, directed it.
Yep.
Just a great movie that I watch every fucking Halloween, and I thought they really could have done, think of all the shitty movies, 976 Evil got a fucking sequel,
That's true.
but goddamn, Trick or Treat didn't get one, and then I heard that there was one in the works, and this is so horrible, that WWE Pictures.
Oh no!
Was making it, yes. So that tells you all you need to know now. So, oh yeah, John Cena and Sammy Kerr. It's like, oh no. And unfortunately, the guy who played Sammy Kerr died a long time ago from AIDS. But
yeah,
and Blackie Lawless was supposed to play the character as well as Gene Simmons.
Right.
And they both turned it down. But that's just one of those. It's just so special to me. Like I don't know, really. I don't know where you could have taken a sequel, but it's one of those movies that I just love so much. I was like, oh, fuck, I want more of this.
And fans of heavy metal and hard rock will appreciate that. Ozzy Osbourne's in it. Gene Simmons, is in it for a little bit. So that's always, kind of cool to see.
Right. Okay, and the last part is something that shouldn't have had a sequel.
Yeah, they should have just left it alone. Like, for mine, it was like the Blues Brothers.
Oh, well, oh my God, that's an amazing answer.
Yeah.
Amazing answer. Another great one would be Caddyshack.
Yep. Oh, God. Jackie Mason.
Yeah, horrible. And I love Jackie Mason. I love Jackie Mason.
Great comedian.
But what a horrible movie. Yes. And you brought up two great examples, and once again, I think I said this last time when you were on the Rock and Metal Combat podcast page. I refuse to watch Blues Brothers 2000.
Yeah.
So I can't critique, but I'm just like, no John Belushi, no fucking Blues Brothers.
Yeah, and they bring in a little kid, and I love John Goodman, but no, you can't do that.
Yeah, and that to me is like one of the most primordial sins in cinema history.
Yeah.
Never bring in a fucking kid. Every time you bring in a fucking kid, it fucking sucks. And I want to shove this up the fucking ass of everybody who says, oh, Terminator 2 is the best. Fuck you. Terminator 1 is way better because, A, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the enemy. He is the bad fucking guy. And 2,
That's right.
Fuck you, Edward Furlong. You never bring in a fucking child. Children fuck everything up. Ask any marriage. Ask, have you ever been having hot sex and a child walks in? It fucks everything up. Dad, shut up. Oh, this sucks. I was just about ready to come. Kids fuck everything up.
Just ask when they brought in another kid for the Brady Bunch,
Yeah, ask Cousin Oliver. Jesus
That's right,
Christ,
Married with Children.
Fucks everything up. Oh, yeah, what was the kid on the 7?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, no, kids fuck everything up. I was jumping the shark before jumping the shark.
Yep.
Is like
even Scooby-Doo.
Scrappy-Doo. Oh, yeah. God. Oh, but I don't know who I want to kill more, Sammy Hagar or Scrappy-Doo.
They can scrap it out.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Sammy Hagar is the musical equivalent of Scrappy-Doo. do you remember as a child how great, old Scooby-Doo mysteries were?
Oh, of course. They were brilliant.
It was some of the best. I'm watching the other night with my old lady. I'm 40-something years old. I'm watching. I was like, ooh, I love this. And it would have been great if it wasn't for you damn meddling kids. Yeah. But you add fucking Scrappy-Doo to it. It's like,
he kills it.
Oh, my God, yeah. So,
and I loved all the guest stars. They'd have Don Knotts or the Harlem Globetrotters.
The Harlem Globetrotters. Fucking the Addams Family. And
Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
God, yeah. All right, so to answer my question, and this is kind of a weird answer, because this is what shouldn't have a sequel.
Yeah.
And I even like the first, and, well, I guess if you're looking at the trilogy, I like the second and fourth movie, but I think this series never should have had a sequel, and I'm going to go with First Blood.
That, you know what? You're right. You're right. They should have just left it as it was after.
That was, to me, one of Stallone's finest hours.
Absolutely.
And hey, I even like fucking Rhinestone.
Yeah, I do too. That's my favorite guilty pleasure movie.
Oh, I love Rhinestone. I love it. Tim Thomerson, one of my favorite character actors.
Oh, so good. And then the guy in the beginning who sings the song where he kind of acts like the tough guy and then devolves.
Yeah. Ron Lieberman.
Yes. Oh, the funniest song ever. I'm going to splice it in after we're talking. So.
Oh, yeah. Let's give a very warm Rhinestone reception to the incredible, real cowboy, the effervescent, the intoxicated Mr. Elgar Rhinestone. Yo!
Hey! Big bad job! Send him back to the job!
Shut up! You blow that thing one more time, son, you're gonna be eating it for a midnight snack. You understand me?
This guy is serious.
How serious can he be? He's got a duck on his shirt.
This is a song I wrote for my baby. Well, I left my home when I was 22, but I never did find my time or place. It's just the kind of thing a man has to do with a scar on his soul, like the one on his face and the emptiness inside. From the day my baby died.
I coached him myself. He'll finish. You wait.
It was a Sunday, June morning, and the sun broke high. I had a smile on my face, and I knew just why. Didn't hear no warning, didn't fear no storm. I knew for sure on that very morning that girl was gonna be my bride. It was the day my baby died.
This guy's great. Keep it down.
In a long white gown and her bridal bouquet, how I begged her not to plow the fields that day. Oh, her beauty never stops. She filled her duty to her crops.
Duty?
She jumped in the old John Deere and she drove away. Hey, hey. She said, baby, don't you worry, this'll only take a minute. But the wheels caught her gown and dragged her down in it. Imagine my surprise when I looked her in the eyes. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. The tractor cut her down the side. Oh, how the hands of fate they cracked her 'neath the wheels of her daddy's tractor. There was blood on the corn and brains on the hay. I ran as fast as I could, but all I found was chunks of my sweetie smeared all around. Big hunks of my darling on the cold, cold ground. Oh, yeah. Hey, this really happened to my Loretta.
Get out of here!
But no,
Such a great
I love Rhinestone. But no, I got to say, like, First Blood, again, a movie I saw in the theaters when I was 8 years old. Yeah, I think it came on.
Oh, wow.
8 years old, and I was just like, wow, what a fucking movie. And I ain't gonna lie, dude, I saw all those sequels in the theater. Well, except for the last one, the one that was just Rambo. I waited for that one to come out, but I liked it.
Yeah, it was super gory.
Yeah, well, it was way better than Rambo 3.
Oh, that's true.
And Rambo 2 is horrible, but I still love it. That's one of those so bad it's good.
That's right.
But I honestly think, like, First Blood, I mean, oh my God, is that a good movie?
Yeah, I mean, Richard Crenna and Brian Dennehy.
Oh, and Brian Dennehy is another one of my favorite actors. I love
character actor. Great.
Yeah, great. Not my favorite. That's coming up later.
That's right.
but no, I love Brian Dennehy. And yeah, Richard Crenna was great in that. It was a really good movie.
Yeah.
That you just should have left. I think it would be looked on more fondly, and I think it would get more respect.
Agreed.
If there wasn't all the other sequels, because those became kind of like almost pro-Reagan propaganda, kind of bullshit Chuck Norris kind of movies.
Yeah, it was self-parody at that point.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, but the first one is just, to me, a great storytelling.
Oh, it's perfect. I mean, it really gets into, how the veterans were just, it was sinful what happened to them after they fight for their country, and they come home and they came and walk through a small town,
Right.
So, yeah. Great pick. All right, what is your favorite holiday movie?
All right, favorite holiday movie. This one, again, I know this is going to seem like a stock answer, but it's a sincere answer, and that has to be Christmas Story.
Mine too, absolutely.
And,
you can't.
And this is
brilliant.
I'll never forget. I saw this and Amityville 3D the same day. Same day. Me and my father, we went and saw the first showing of Christmas Story on a Sunday in November.
Wow.
I mean, look this up, because I can't make this shit up. It came out in November. So we saw the first showing that day on a Sunday, which was probably around noon. Went home, got something to eat, and we went back that night and saw Amityville 3D.
Nice.
Which was horrible. I mean, horrible. Really.
But I'm surprised you saw A Christmas Story in the theater, because it really didn't take off till later, through video rental.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was at that age when A Christmas Story came out. I was 9 years old. I mean, I was
perfect.
I was Ralphie.
That's right.
And it's one of those, and it's so funny. My girlfriend refuses to watch Christmas Story because she's never seen it, and it's one of those things where, like, she takes pride. Like, I've made it this many years and I've never seen it, but everybody says I have to, so I'm like the rebel. And I'm kind of that way with It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
Not that I'm protesting it. Like, at some point I'll see It's a Wonderful Life, but I'm going to be honest. I've made it 43 years. I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
And I'm the opposite of my old lady. I'm not like, I refuse to watch it. It's just I've never got around to it. But A Christmas Story is one of those. I mean, Jesus Christ. Another one of my favorite actors, Darren McGavin.
Absolutely. He makes the movie.
Oh, yeah. Because I grew up with Night Stalker. I remember watching Night Stalker when I was a little kid, And, Fragile, and...
arguing with the Bumpus Hounds and just, this.
And it's one of those movies, it's awesome because it's a timepiece,
It is.
That takes place in the 40s, but yet it's something I think any kid can relate to. Especially kids who grew up, in the Midwest or a colder climate where you have snow and all the different shit. But I mean, even you grew up in California, you still get what it is to be a little kid and to have that one toy that will mean everything to you. I mean, what can anybody understand about that?
Well, do you know who was supposed to play the Darren McGavin character originally?
That I did not know.
Jack Nicholson. They really wanted him to play that character, and as much as I love Jack, it would have been about Jack.
Hey, you little shit, you're going to get a fucking baby gun or you're not. No, I couldn't imagine that, dude. It's Darren McGavin. No, I couldn't imagine that. That's horrible.
No, but that's who they wanted, and
That's
the only
horrible. That's like having a Getty on Baywatch, playing Pamela Anderson. No, it don't work. It don't work. I love you both, but no. Oh no, but
well, really, the only reason the Christmas Story was even made was because Bob Clark, the director, had such great success with Porky's.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how this got made.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's the same guy who did, and Porky's is another amazing movie. That's probably one that shouldn't have had sequels because
no, that's a good point.
And I enjoy. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I love Porky's 2 and 3, but I mean it's nothing like the original. But yeah, it's so funny for Bob Clark to go from something like Porky's, which another one I saw in the theaters.
Yeah,
I was like 7 or 8, dude, and I saw that with my grandfather, fucking tits and all, and I loved it.
That's a rite of passage for any male. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I grew up in the era of fucking 80s sex comedies.
Yeah,
and I saw them all in the theaters. I was like that one kid where everybody else looked at my grandfather like going, "This is wrong."
So he was keen to see Lose It and Last American Virgin and all that.
I saw Losing It in the theater. I saw Last American Virgin. I saw Private School.
Oh yeah.
I saw Private Lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw all this shit in the theater, and it's probably why I'm so fucked up. But I saw all those. But yeah, good shit.
All right, next. Movies you hate, but everyone else seems to love.
Well, first of all, I would say anything Michael Bay has touched.
We've established that.
Yeah. I don't get any of these Transformers, that kind of shit. I would say a couple movies that hate is maybe a strong word, but maybe I didn't get as much as most people, and that would be Office Space and Super Troopers.
Really? Oh man.
Yeah, and I'm not, and maybe I was in a wrong headspace at the time, but or maybe it was also that those were two movies that were hyped up so much, like my god, my god, and then I watched, and I'm like,
I think for Office Space, I mean, at least a lot of my friends, we do work in cubicles. We do have that kind of that work environment, so that it may resonate more with us. Maybe, I don't know, but Super Troopers is surprising because it's kind of like that goofy, just almost has an '80s feel to it in many ways.
No, I get that, but again, it was one of those ones where like everybody came to me. And like anybody else, sometimes you change your mind on a movie. Maybe I wasn't in the right headspace, or maybe I need to revisit, because those are both two movies that I've only watched once. I've never went back. And there's plenty of movies I know and love that I didn't get at first. But I mean, you asked the question, I'm going to answer it.
Oh, absolutely.
Those were ones I think maybe they were just too hyped. Like, okay, but no, this is an Airplane. This is a Caddyshack.
Right.
This is an Animal House. But people made it sound like that, so maybe I had too high of expectations. I'll tell you, one of the Broken Lizard movies that I love that most people hate was Club Dread.
Oh, yeah.
That a lot of people hated, and that's one, at the time it came out, well, I should say at the time it came out in video, I was dating a girl who, that was on whatever cable package she had. And it was always on, so I ended up watching it like 57 times, and I'd come in at one point, and then the next time, the movie would be starting another point, so I watched it in 50 parts before I saw it all, together.
Right.
But I enjoyed that one. But yeah, there's something about Super Troopers and Office Space, and to a lesser extent, Idiocracy. Which I love now. But the first time I watched it, didn't like it at all.
It's got electrolytes, man.
Yeah, but now I love it. It. So, I mean, those are movies I could very well change my mind on, but those are ones that are, everybody seems to love that I'm just not on board with.
Not into. Okay.
Right.
Movies that you feel are just too damn long.
Boy, this is a hard one. I mean, because I don't have a problem with long movies.
Okay.
As long as they, keep my interest.
Like The Godfather, it doesn't matter if it's over 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, I can sit there and I can watch it where they do the first two together.
That's right. Or
But
Casino. Yeah.
right, but it doesn't feel like when you have me, you have me.
Yeah.
And something I love, it's the opposite. I don't want it to end. But a movie that's just too long, I don't know. This is probably the roughest question you asked. I would say anything with Tyler Perry. Even though I've never seen a Tyler Perry movie, but I just imagine any one of those would be too long.
Hardest working man in show business, man. He's like releasing 5 movies a year.
Yeah, that's sad. That's what a sad state we're in.
I know.
But, hey, if you're gonna fuck Harvey Weinstein, you might as well get something out of it.
Oh man, and everyone's coming out now, like between him and Kevin Spacey, and oh man, what a nightmare.
I know, and I'm pissed because I fucked both Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein, and I've never even made it to basic cable. So,
That's right. Yeah. No payoff, nothing.
Yeah, no payoff. It's just, like, what am I doing? I guess I have to catch. I was pitching. You
kept your mouth shut for nothing.
Yeah, I guess you got to be a catcher. I don't know. Maybe I'll be on House of Cards, when it's on Hulu. I don't know.
What is your favorite quotable movie?
Ooh, quotable movie. I would have to go to a movie that's in my top 3 of all-time comedies, and that would be Airplane.
Yeah, mine too. How can you go wrong with that?
Yeah, it's just one of those, and it's so funny because by today's standards, it's relatively a tame movie.
Yeah,
but it just shows you like when it's funny, it's funny. And I work with a guy who's much younger than me, probably by almost 20 years.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh, you're really into movies?" He goes, "What do you think is a good comedy?" He goes, "I want to get into older movies. I don't watch any older movies." To this guy, like Transformers is an old movie. But I'm like, Airplane, classic. He watched it. He's like, "I didn't get it. Wasn't funny." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you don't get this, because to me that's something. It doesn't matter your age, your race, where you grew up, or anything. Like, that is just like a funny fucking movie.
And you have to watch it over and over again because there's so many jokes that you're gonna. Yeah,
exactly. It just gets better and better with age because every line is a fucking joke. So half the time while you're laughing, you're missing like 2 jokes because you're too busy laughing at the last one.
And part of the reason that the younger guy might not get it is I don't think he realizes the actors that are in it were serious actors before that, like Robert Stack and Leslie Nielsen and people like that. And
well, something that made it, even if you could imagine this, even more pleasurable for me is it was really a spoof of this phenomenon in the 70s, which was the airplane disaster movie. And last year I bought this collection on Blu-ray that is all the Airplane movies.
The Airport.
Yeah, Airport movies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like Airport 77.
Yeah, Airport 75 and Airport Underwater and Airport Concorde and all these. And I'm watching them, and they're hilarious, but
they are,
nonchalant. They're not supposed to be, but it's so like overacted, and it's always people like Dean Martin and all these actors, that are way past their prime, and they're just, Bing Crosby maybe or somebody or.
Well, who's the one guy in all of those movies? There's one actor.
That's
in all.
George. What the fuck's his name? George. He was in
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun. Yeah, George Kennedy.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
George Kennedy, the great George Kennedy, was in Cool Hand Luke and a million other movies.
Charade.
Yeah. George Kennedy, great actor. Great actor. Another great character actor. Not my favorite.
We're getting there.
That's coming up later. But
that's right.
But but it even takes another tone. Like when I watch those, they are enjoyable. I mean, it's bad, like almost like movie of the week melodrama.
Yes.
But there's a certain charm about it that is fun and entertaining. But then when you see that, you really see where a lot of these jokes came from. But you don't even need to know that to get these jokes in Airplane. I mean, it's just to me, comedy at its best. And this is the same mind behind one of my other favorite comedies of all time, which is Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh, that's the first Zucker Brothers. That was the beginning of this.
Oh my God, I love that.
2 fists of yen.
Yeah, the popcorn union's been pissed in.
Yeah. News at 11. The gorilla just jumps in the middle, or you have the random arrow shooting the guy, and it's
this
so
record
brilliant.
comes equipped with a Big Jim Slade. Oh God, if anybody listening to this has not seen Kentucky Fried Movie, I mean they don't make them like that anymore, kids. I mean,
not at all. I mean, it's basically like a bunch of Saturday Night Live skits for anyone that hasn't seen it.
And there was kind of a loose follow up that I love. Not just as much, but right behind it, Amazon Women on the Moon.
Yeah.
Is another great one by the same people. But I mean, just good comedy.
Yeah.
And everybody loves comedy. I mean, really. I mean,
it never wins the awards, but it
You don't win unless you're Woody Allen.
Yeah.
And I heard Woody Allen fucked Harvey Weinstein to get Best Picture for Annie Hall.
I believe that.
It happened a long time ago, but
yeah.
But no. To me, comedy and horror are the most primordial eras of cinema, because either you get it or you don't.
Right.
So
yeah.
I don't even know what question we were on.
We were on most quotable, but we're gonna move on, and we're gonna go to your favorite underdog movie.
No Retreat, No Surrender.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I was like, holy shit.
I'm just kidding. But I do love that movie. That shit's horrible. I saw that in the theater. Yeah. How many of you can say that? Yes.
Not many.
Yeah. I saw No Retreat, No Surrender in the fucking theater. That's like saying I saw Iron Eagle in the theater. Or
Iron Eagle 2. Yeah.
No, that I rented.
Okay, good. Good.
But I would say greatest underdog movie, and again, this may seem like a stock answer, but this movie is so important to me, and I think should not be underestimated, is The Bad News Bears.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it because at the end they win, but they don't win, and everybody's an underachiever.
Yep.
And you have the genius, the fucking genius that is Walter Matthau.
That's right.
I mean, he is just incredible. But the kids in that movie are so good. Like,
oh yeah.
Nowadays you see kids in a movie and they act like kids and they're cutesy tootsie and all this shit. But the kids like Tanner and Ogilvy and Engelberg, there was something about it. There was something about it. And
well, it was the 70s. It was grittier.
It was. But it's one of those things. It's like, but back then, it's like it's not like it wasn't taboo then either.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. But at the same time, it was just like, these are how kids talk.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, this is how it is. And hey, there's alcoholic coaches for children's sports.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. Well, the movie was ahead of its time too, because your best pitcher was a girl, and she was by far one of the best players on the team.
Oh yeah, and oh my God, the great Tatum O'Neal, who another movie that's incredible. If you've never seen is Paper Moon.
Yes, with her dad.
Yes, Peter Bogdanovich directed it. A great black and white movie. Paper Moon, love it.
All right, what is your favorite romantic movie?
My favorite romantic movie, which this is probably going to seem sort of weird because I get this a lot from somebody like, really? My favorite romance movie is Chasing Amy.
That's a good one. It's an interesting one. So even in spite of Affleck.
I love Ben Affleck.
Really? Okay.
In Kevin Smith movies.
Okay.
I think Kevin Smith knew how to use him, and I think Kevin Smith in Chasing Amy was an incredible actor. Mm-hmm. I think he played the part perfect. Jason Lee was amazing.
I love Jason Lee.
Oh, yeah. And it's one of those things, and my lesbian friends, they're like, yeah, this is like science fiction. But
yeah, there you go.
but no, I think there's a heart in that movie that is undeniable. The comedy is undeniable. And to me, it's a very romantic movie.
And different.
And again, yeah, it's not conventional.
Nope.
It doesn't end well. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's true.
For said parties. But at the heart of the story is love. Be it whatever form or sexuality it is. It's a story about love between two people. And told, in my opinion, in a very comical way. It's my favorite Kevin Smith movie of all time, and I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan.
Even more than Mallrats.
Oh yeah, Mallrats.
Okay.
Shit. I mean, I love Mallrats. Mallrats would probably be my fourth.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think I would take Clerks and Clerks and Dogma over
Dogma.
Mallrats.
Yeah.
I love Dogma.
The Buddy Christ.
Yeah, Buddy Christ. I love it. I love it. But no, I love Mallrats. Don't get me wrong. Mallrats is great.
Okay.
But to me, Chasing Amy is the epitome of his filmmaking, and I think it's one of his most personal films, and just absolutely love it. And every time I see it, I get sad. It's like I'm happy, but I'm sad at the same time because I think it reminds. It's one of those films very enjoyable, but at the same time, if you've ever loved somebody, it's going to remind you of some failed romance,
relationship.
Whether it was for the better or not, it'll always remind you of something that ended wrong or something that left unended. But it's just a thoroughly entertaining movie. I mean, great banner, great fucking writing for the movie. Big fan of Chasing Amy, my favorite romance movie.
And there's an example where if it had actually ended, like a traditional storybook ending, it wouldn't have resonated with you as much.
Right? Yeah, it wouldn't have had that impact because then it would just seem forced. It would seem like too Hollywood. Where when you see an ending like that, you're like, well, this, it just makes it real. Not like real life is horrible, but you know what? It's not all fucking roses either. So. It's okay to make movies like that, And I think Hollywood's so scared of making movies like that, and it's a damn shame because not everybody needs that shit. Not everybody needs to be cuddled and told everything's gonna be all right. It's all right to have stuff that's not perfect because it's realistic.
That's right.
And that should be your goal as a filmmaker. Not only, I mean, first and foremost, to entertain.
Yeah, of course.
You should have something that's relatable.
Yeah.
Especially in fucking rom-coms, which
yes,
are the equivalents of fucking Journey songs.
Yeah, it's true.
and I love Journey, but Frank Zappa had a great quote about love songs have ruined us as people because like you listen to like a romantic song and you expect that's how everything's supposed to be, but it's not like that.
No.
That's not realistic. But teenage girls hear fucking a Journey song, and everybody has to be that guy. Not everybody's that guy,
Right. Reality comes crashing down when they realize it.
Right. And it's actually an Alice in Chains song when you're all said and done because somebody's hooked on heroin and they die,
What is your favorite black and white movie? This is tough, but I tried to pick things where it felt like black and white was necessary for the film, whatever it may be.
That was a very tough one. I mean, a very tough one. And I went through a lot of, not only black and white because it was necessity.
Right.
And then there's other movies that were modern, that were black and white on purpose.
Right.
Like Manhattan by Woody Allen.
Uh-huh.
But I would say my favorite black and white movie, and I didn't write this down, I should have, but I think it was the 1939 edition of Tom Sawyer.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of these movies that I saw on CBS at 3 a.m.
Okay.
On a weekend, like before there was infomercials, kids. There used to be they would just show movies, either that or sometimes the channel would just end at midnight. They're like,
yeah, you get the test pattern.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is one I saw, and I believe it's a 1930s edition. I could be wrong.
Was Walter Brennan in it? Because I think there's one in 1938, so it's probably this one. But
yeah, it's probably that one. I could be wrong. 30, whatever. I mean, nobody gives a fuck.
Right. Check the 30s. Yeah.
It's black and white, but it's Tom Sawyer, kids. Yeah,
okay.
Look up your Tom Sawyer. But it's one of those that just really caught my imagination as a kid. Because normally I wouldn't give something that old a chance at that age.
Sure.
But I'm watching it, and it's kids. You know what I mean? It's people my age, and I'm watching it, and what a great story. You know, I mean, Tom Sawyer and fucking, Mark Twain. I mean, what a great author. Knew how to write, knew how to entertain, and I really thought it came across in the movie and just kept my interest at a time when it was real hard. Like I remember when my son was little, he would not watch movies that were older than him, and
Right.
Even though it pissed me off, I understood it because I was the same way.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, give it a time, grow up, you'll get it. But this is one of those that just stuck out at me, and maybe not the best black and white movie, but when I think of like old school black and white movies, I'll never forget this. And it opened up my mind to watching, stuff that I love now, stuff like fucking Citizen Kane or Double Indemnity or
right.
All these great, black and white movies that I probably wouldn't watch if it wasn't for this Tom Sawyer movie. So.
Right, and all the great film noir movies because based on the shadows and
exactly.
Exactly.
A lot of those this was my gateway drug.
Yeah. I picked a few ones that were kind of after black and white. Color was a standard. One is Young Frankenstein. I think you kind of had to make it in black and white because it was an homage.
Still, I think it was a bold choice, though.
I agree.
I think it was a bold, and it paid off in spades. But I think it was a very bold choice at that time.
Yeah, and another one that a few of my guests picked was Elephant Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not an animal.
That's right. All right, what is the first rated R movie you remember seeing?
Well, I guess that would have to be by default. That would have to be Piranha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the one that you really remember that you went by choice to go see.
Ooh, well, that in itself is a tough one. But I will tell you the first R-rated movie that freaked me the fuck out.
Okay.
And this was something. I mean, this was a oh my God, I'll never forget this. My dad and his girlfriend at the time took me to see a horror movie called Dead and Buried.
Okay.
A great, man, if you love early 80s horror movies, check it out. Very good. Robert Englund's in it.
Okay. It came out in 1981.
Yeah, the grandpa from fucking Charlie and Chocolate Factory was in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But it's a really cool movie, but I'll never forget this. Opening night, my dad wanted to see it. Huge horror movie fan.
Mm-hmm.
So he took me, and there's a scene in the movie where one of the villains, because there's multiple villains, stabs a guy in the hospital in the eye with a hypodermic needle. And at this point, I've already seen Halloween. I've already seen Friday the 13th. I've seen... a lot of scary movies for a kid that is barely in fucking grade school. I've seen a lot of this shit, so I'm kind of oblivious to it. But there was just something about this scene when she stabbed the guy in the eye. I lost my shit and started screaming, and they had to take me out of the theater. And my dad was so pissed. And hey, my dad was a good dad. I know this is gonna sound bad, but he was just like, the fuck, you fucking embarrassed me, goddamn, it's just a goddamn movie, what the fuck you doing?
No.
But I mean, he was a really cool dad, it's just I think what it was is I was so cool to other shit, he thought I could handle it.
Right.
And we're also talking about a different era, people.
Oh, totally,
We're
totally.
talking about a different era. But, it freaked me out, and I remember he had to bring me home to my grandparents, and then him and his girlfriend went back to see the 9 o'clock showing of the same movie, because he really wanted to see it. But that was, as far as R-rated movies, I had seen some other R-rated movies, but that was the first one, ooh, I can't handle this shit. It freaked me the fuck out. And
Yeah.
and to this day, I mean, I still have that movie on DVD, and I watch it. And
Nice.
And now I relish that part, you know, because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this, but at the same time, I also remember how much it freaked me out. So not the first R-rated movie, but the first R-rated movie I remember having an impact.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great answer. All right, what is your favorite Oscar-winning movie that you can think of for Best Picture?
Okay. Okay. Oh, so it had to win Best Picture.
Right.
This
is a tough one because I mean it almost involves some research, but the best you could do. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a tough one because I kind of looked at it differently because I thought it could. When I was preparing for the answers, I was thinking like, you know, it could have won an Oscar for cinematography or best supporting actor.
We can do that too.
You know,
I mean, whatever you want to, whatever you want to mention.
No. But no, I like it because you're throwing it at me now, and now I got to think on my feet, and I like it. And and again, I hate this to be, you know, a stocked answer, but I would have to say The Godfather.
That makes sense. Yeah. Which one though? Is it one or two?
One.
Okay.
You know, I there was a time when I went back and forth about, you know, what's better, Godfather 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. And Godfather 2, I got to admit, you know, as a child, took me longer to get into.
Okay.
Because I did not like the De Niro parts. Well, because you got to understand, though. I mean, I was a kid, and you're making me read. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I think that's what bothered me the most. Like, no, a movie's supposed to be easy. you know, I'm not supposed to read. That's like homework. You know, and I think as a kid, to me, I wasn't used to that kind of non-linear storytelling.
Sure.
You know, to where it goes back and forth between what's current and what's past, and it kind of like, what the fuck? But then, you know, as I got older, I was like, oh my God, how amazing. And then when I saw Godfather 3, I was like, oh yeah, Godfather 2 is amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
I stayed up. I rented it. Jesus Christ. I think I still had VHS at the time. I remember I used to go to this place called the Movie Station. That's where I rented movies.
Okay.
And I got Godfather 1 and Godfather 2, and they were both double VHSs.
Yeah.
And I stayed up Christmas Eve watching him back to back because Godfather 3 came out on Christmas Day.
Right.
1990. So I tried to plan it to where as soon as I got done with that, I'm going to go to the movie theater and see Godfather 3. What a disappointment.
I know.
Still a good movie, but compared to the first two, I mean, come on.
That might be one of the all-time movies when it came to so much hype and then just a letdown for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a fucked up thing. Is it's still not bad, but I mean, you got to look at like, you know, Jesus.
Do you think the movie would have been better if they had Winona Ryder instead of Sofia Coppola or whoever they were thinking about?
I'm one of those. I think that's irrelevant.
Okay.
I honestly, because I think that was an ill-conceived storyline to begin with. The whole like guy fucking his cousin thing. I'm like,
yeah.
You know, I'm like, really? I don't know. Maybe that's a Sicilian thing. I don't know. I'm Irish. I don't know. We fuck other people, you know. But I thought that was an ill-conceived storyline. You know, to me, the biggest problem is it just seemed like so like kind of thrown together. It would have been so much more entertaining, I should say, if Duvall would have been in there and like the original storyline, which was a fight between power, between Duvall and Pacino.
Yeah,
that would have been a much more powerful storytelling, and I think they could have done like a way better background story with the 70s New York mob. I mean, there was such a great storyline with just the 70s era mob, you know. But I think, you know, it's one of those things where too much time passed. They should they should have done it in the early 80s when they wanted to. And I mean, as an aficionado, you know, there was points when fucking Stallone was attached to it.
Yeah.
There was a point when Eddie Murphy was fucking attached to it, for Christ's sake. You know.
But you're right. It's funny because what you mentioned, like the conflict that could have been between Pacino and Duvall, was actually almost happening in real life when it came to the contract, and Pacino wanted too much money and priced Duvall out basically.
Yeah, and what's crazy is they settled on that because goddamn, if you would have gave fucking Robert Duvall, man, come on, Robert fucking the Great Santini, you motherfucker.
Yeah, that's right.
Like goddamn, give him the money. And you could have had a much better story, but I think it was, you could tell there was some love put into it. Let's be honest, Coppola did this because they let him do a bunch of other pictures in order to do this.
Right.
The time to do that would have been after Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would have been to do Godfather 3.
Yeah.
And he did it like, okay, this is this is why my grandchildren will never have to work because I do this movie. But he had his family's involved in all this shit. But I honestly don't think his heart was in it as much, and even Mario Puzo,
Yeah.
It's like, exactly. The time to do that would have been after Apocalypse Now.
All right, that's just part one of this well over 3.5 hour interview I did with Ian, so we had to split it up into 2 parts. So tune in next week to hear the remaining hour and a half I have with Ian. Also, if you can't get enough of him, and of course the amazing Ralph Vieira, check out the Rock and Metal Combat podcast, all things hard rock and heavy metal. But even if you aren't really into that music and you just want to hear the witty banter between the two guys, it is amazing. They have a great rapport. Check them out. And also, if you just want to hear Ian play some amazing eclectic music, you can always give him requests every Saturday from 11 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern, only on a show called Wadzilla's World, and that is only on Soundphoria Radio, and that is online. All right, until next week, this is Brian signing off. If you enjoyed this podcast and are an iTunes user, please do the show a favor and head on over to the official iTunes page for Damn Good Movie Memories. Be sure to leave a rating and a review. This will allow the show to appear higher in the algorithm and spread the joy of this podcast to the masses. If you are not an iTunes user, you can still listen and subscribe on Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook under our Damn Good Movie Memories page. You can also listen to a limited number of episodes on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and be sure to tune in next week for an all-new episode of Damn Good Movie Memories.